Tier 0, OTK, Healing. These are the three phrases to describe the three 5D's formats thus far. It was clear that Konami didn't want the game to exist in such a toxic state at the cost of selling overly powerful cards. To be fair, Stardust Dragon was never hit since its power in Teledad, and it took a whole format for Black Rose Dragon to get hit. But generally, if something was too harmful for the game, Konami would get rid of it. The Teledad deck was hit hard, Synchro Cat lost Dark Strike Fighter, Crush Card Virus got forbidden status too, and all this led to a format where Lightsworn and Zombie and their variants were able to make it so not every deck had to be the same. There was breathing room in deck construction without the need to remove powerful boss monsters like Judgment Dragon and Dark Arm Dragon, but not every format is built the same. Can Konami keep up the healthy game state, or will we end back up in murky waters? Like most formats, what ended the last one and started this new one would be a new list. This would be the March 2010 list, and it did not disappoint. While nothing was banned, a chunk of the popular decks from before were hit. Lightsworn had Lumina, Necro Gardna, Charge of the Light Brigade, and Chaos Sorcerer for the Twilight variant knocked down to 1, with Honest getting hit to 2. Zombie lost Brionac, Mizuki, Allure of Darkness, Destiny Draw, and Foolish Burial down to 1 too. Yeah, Chaos Orc and Mizuki didn't last long away from the limited spot, huh? In addition, many anti-meta cards got semi-limited, such as Skill Drain, Royal Decree, and Royal Oppression. It is a bit of a surprise how long it took for Oppression to get hit. Other cards put to 2 include Cyber Dragon, Dandelion, Demise, Treeborn Frog, and Black Whirlwind. Mask of Darkness and Smashing Ground would get unlimited too. It was clear that this list was made to make a point, and Lightsworn and Zombie would not be at full power moving forward, because a lot of the problem cards that would be able to keep an archetype in their top place got hit in some way, like Black Whirlwind and Honest. Hunting season has started for top deck supremacy. But the format would not be defined here, as there are a few releases to tackle. First of the March releases would be the Shonen Jump Volume 8 Issue 3 promo card, Cyber Eltonin. What the hell is an Eltonin? Well, apparently it comes from the Arabic name of a constellation, Al-Tinin, which means the dragon. If you ask me, this card's straight from Godzilla. I mean, come on, that's straight up Mecha Godzilla. So Eltonin is an interesting card, as it can only be special summoned and be summoned by banishing all light machines from your field and grave, and Eltonin gains 500 attack and defense per monster banished. Then if it's specialed, all other face-up monsters on the field go straight to the grave. It's a pretty good tool for late game cleanup that's designed around the Cyber Dragon archetype. Sticking to Jump, there was also a March subscription bonus that would get you Genesis Dragon and Orichalcos Shuneros. This was rather fun given the anime popularity of the Orichalcos, even if the seal itself would not be a playable card yet. Neither card would make an impact to the meta, despite them having multiple effects each. The next release would, however, and that's the Duelist Pack Collection Tin 2010 and the brand new trap card, Starlight Road. Starlight can only be activated if a card is activated that destroys 2 or more cards you control, so like Lightning Vortex, Heavy Storm, or Icarus Attack, potentially, depending on what the targets are. This card will negate it and then allows you to special a Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. Whoa, a synchro without synchro summoning? You gotta be kidding me! At least a downside is that if you use Stardust's effect to destroy itself to negate, it cannot come back to the field during the end phase, for it was not synchro summoned properly. March would also get us the Absolute Power Force Special Edition that, while not including any new cards, did give Duelists widespread access to previous Shonen Jump sub-bonus cards, Dandelion and Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon, which is kind of funny to think about how these two cards have been around for like 3 formats prior and nobody played them. After all, Dandelion, when sent to the grave, can special 2 level 1 fluff tokens, which are prime for synchro summoning. And Red Eyes can be special from the hand by banishing 1 dragon monster you control. In addition, you can special a dragon monster except for metal from your hand or grave once per turn. 2 powerful cards, and even more so now that Dandelion went from limited to unlimited. The last release for Edison format would be almost a month later on April 20th with Duelist Pack Kaiba. There's nothing of major interest here aside from the new Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon, some alternate art cards, and some beautiful ultimate rarity bumps. And yeah, that's it when it comes to new releases. As you may notice, the timeline didn't move too far and there wasn't even a new core or booster set, just promos more or less. To explain this further, let's discuss why the format is called what it is. The name Edison doesn't come from a deck or a card, rather it comes from one event the format is known for, SJC Edison. This was the 75th and final SJC event ever, which truly marks the end of an era. It was held at Edison, New Jersey from April 24th to the 25th and was the largest SJC with over 2,700 people. Compared to most SJCs, the top 16 had a lot of variety in the sense there was no single dominant deck. Typically in a format after a large shakeup, duelists try and use general thought to be top strategies or try and implement what worked before, but not here. Because the clear top decks of Lightsworn format were watered down with a new list, which meant even the tier 2 decks were put in the same boat with old decks coming back and up-and-coming strategies. The top 16 included Machina Gadget, Caliber Gadget, Blackwing, Twilight, Lightsworn, Gladiator Beast, Gravekeeper Burn, Synchro Cat, Caliber Cat, Lightsworn Monarch, and the top deck out of SJC Edison, Quick Draw Dandy Warrior, aka Quick Draw Plant. If the 5D's era has proven anything thus far, it's that tuners and the ability to access synchro monsters easily were of utmost importance. Beforehand, you had the Krebon's emergency teleport combo that was inconsistent, same goes for the Rescue Cat X-Saber Airbellum combo, and the Deep Sea Diva combo that was hurt when Mizuki went back to 1. While none of these tuners became unusable, it was back to the drawing board for a tuner that could be consistent moving forward. This leads us to Quick Draw Synchron. This recently released machine could be special summoned from your hand by discarding a monster, so it works similarly to the Diva combo where you can special out a tuner and fill up the graveyard too. The only downside is that Quick Draw must be used for a synchro monster that lists a synchron monster as a tuner material. Well, you still had a healthy selection to pick from: Drill Warrior, Junk Archer, Nitro Warrior, and Turbo Warrior. And remember Dandelion? Well, that card has great synergy here since just with these two cards, you could have enough monsters on the field to perform a synchro summon. Then you have all the existing plant support, which has been building up throughout this history series. Lonefire Blossom could get out a plant from deck, and Titanial contribute plants to an Omni Negate with high stats to boot. Plus, Debris Dragon was a great tool for monster revival, even if its requirements are specific. Since you had plenty of under level 4 monsters to revive, the effects didn't matter much if you're going to a synchro summon, and the lock for Dragon Synchros was hardly a drawback given the card pool. We saw 3 quick draw plant decks in the top 16, and thus no surprise that seasoned duelist Jeff Jones got first place with it. You also saw Synchro Cat and Gadget receive new versions with the addition of Doom Caliber Knight. This fiend monster contributes itself to negate a monster effect and destroy the monster. I mentioned it when it first came out, but it didn't see any play for it was an SJC prize card and wasn't great if you only had one. However, at 3, it was a reliable negate with high attack. And in August 2009, it saw a reprint in Turbo Pack Booster 1 and gave duelists more access to a monster that can help push through a board. The Gadget deck also saw a Machina variant, as the Machina engine had plenty of reliable searchers, beaters, and protection. FLAMVELL was another new deck to come out of SJC Edison. With FLAMVELL Fire Dog and its high attack, when it destroys a monster, you can special a fire monster with 200 or less defense from your deck except another Fire Dog. Because of recent fire support, you had plenty to pick from with the low defense, the best of which being FLAMVELL Magician because it was a level 4 tuner allowing you to access level 8 synchros. As the game went on, the fire spell Rekindling would get more powerful as an early version of Soul Charge. Suddenly, you had another meta synchro deck. A lot of the previous decks stayed solid, all things considered. Lightsworn still had plenty of tools in the toolbox, Blackwing had more versatility thanks to the release of Value and the general nature of Blackwing cards, and Gladiator Beast, while losing power since their 2008 height, still had enough to play with in the tempo game without the list hitting any additional Glad cards like Gyzarus or War Chariot. I've already made a whole video discussing Gravekeepers and what made the GK Burn deck relevant, and you even saw Dragon draw Exodia decks on lower tier levels too, considering how many draw cards exist by this point. Pot of Greed who? It's just a shame that zombie decks didn't see any representation in the top 16. This may feel like a quick video comparatively, and that's because it was a brief period in Yu-Gi-Oh! Edison format was a short format that was personified by its open-ended deck building and diverse metagame. It wasn't dominated by a single deck or singular power cards, rather there was a lot of one-ups and back-and-forth gameplay. The speed was typically played at a decent pace, faster than GOAT, sure, but not to the point where it was a 3-turn game either. It is arguable whether the open-endedness of Edison is better than a more structured format like Lightsworn format. However, as the years progressed, Edison was looked fondly upon for being the second most played Time Wizard format next to GOAT, and one day it may even surpass it. Deck variety has only increased with some modern popular decks including Value Turbo, Hero Beat, Chaos Fairy, Frog Monarch, Diva Zombie returning, and a plethora more one can find by going to formatlibrary.com. From a historical sense, SJC Edison marked the dark end of the Shonen Jump era in a positive going-away party. It still saw presence of Lightsworn, yet it saw new blood in Quick Draw Plant, and even the return of Gravekeepers in both a deck and tech sense, and also the return of the Monarch engine in a few decks too. The variety of the format is a rare one to see, and shows that Konami is really trying to make the 5D's era work. Everything, however, must come to an end as we enter the summer of 2010, and for me, 3 letters come to mind. FTK.